All right. Welcome to No BS Real Estate Show. I was 30 minutes late because the previous meeting I had ran a little bit late, but we've got some good news on another front. So I'm like, I couldn't leave just yet. But I listened to a report today, actually in the truck on the way over here, that this is the worst real estate market in decades. And I think that's true if you were to look at it from like single family on a sales per kind of population basis. We've never had sales this low in the history of ever, if the data is normalized over population. So the kind of the way I look at it is this is as bad as it's going to get.
Yeah, I mean, when people always ask, "Hey, I'm waiting for the crash rate to buy," buy.
Yeah,
Like,
it's right now.
Waiting, if you're that guy that goes to all these meetups and you're the guy saying, "Yeah, as soon as I have a crash, I'm going to buy," well, go buy. It's time to buy. Now, good luck getting a loan since you have no history with any lender. But hopefully you got a bunch of dry powder sitting on the sidelines. You can go buy because this is about as low as it's going to get. I think. I don't know. The Fed decided to keep rates flat again,
which is wild, absolutely wild.
So I know you and I talked about this. I guess maybe last week. I'm with Lean Associates, and we have a big leadership summit out in Vegas every year, and it was a couple weeks ago, and we had a guest speaker, really dynamic guy, Dr. Peter Lineman, super smart guy, been doing this for a long time, economist, and he came in, and I'll send you the video so you can see it.
Okay.
But he basically came in and said the Fed is behind again, right? Inflation is sub 2 right now. Not good. Don't want inflation sub 2. Don't want inflation 4, but you don't want inflation at 1.8 either. And so he said, they've got to have to start lowering the rates to get inflation to raise back up. But now there's a pissing match between the chairman and the president.
Yep.
And so he said he thinks a little bit of the is waiting to lower rates comes from he wants to kind of give the finger to Donald Trump.
Oh, I agree with that. Yeah. Yeah. Who do you think you are, dude? Like, come on.
By the way, anybody that thinks that Donald Trump can fire him is misinformed. He cannot. It's an independent agent. He cannot be fired by the president of the United States.
I think they have to go in front of the Senate, and the Senate has to recall him. Like, it's a nightmare to do it. I mean, it's not a overnight sort of thing.
It's quicker to impeach a president and actually get him out of office than it is to remove the chairman of the Fed.
Yeah. Which, of course, who are they going to replace him with at that point? Although we're already seeing some folks now that Trump will probably pick, and all of them have said, I'm lowering rates day one I get in there, which I believe is March 26th. When is Powell's term up?
That's pretty accurate. I know it's end of first quarter, and I think
May 2026.
What's that?
May 2026.
Man.
Yeah,
that's a long ways away.
That is a long ways away.
11 months. That's a long ways. But if he doesn't start doing something, he's going to have a whole bunch of people with pitchforks and torches coming after him too, because he's just he's making everybody not invest. He's making people not buy houses.
Well, I looked at a project today. I'm just going to give you kind of some generic numbers. So I was on a certain side of town that is. I knew it was growing, but then when I went out there and drove it, I was like, holy cow, this is insane. I was blown away by the number of, let's just call it parcels. We're at 2 acres here, 3 acres there, not like big construction projects because it's in an urban area in Houston. It's inside the Beltway. And
inside the Beltway. Wow.
Yeah,
okay.
Inside the Beltway, outside 610. And I was blown away by the number of new home projects, like little neighborhoods, 10 houses here, 15 houses there. And they were throwing them up as fast as possible. And I can tell you this, I've driven on this area town. I've driven in this area town. And Corey said, no, go over here, sent me an address. And I looked at it and I'm like, holy cow, the streets are littered with, this is what real development looks like. The streets are littered with little crappy houses on big lots. They have for sale signs in the front yard. These houses are absolute garbage. Like they're falling down. They're 60 years old. Actually, they're older than 60 years, probably 80 years old. But they're on pretty large lots. Any of the ones that have not sold, the ones that have sold have those public hearing notices on the front because they're redeveloping all of it. You know, they're turning an acre into like 2,500 square foot lots, right?
Yep.
And then the ones that have already gone through that process are fenced up and it has like whoever the big brand is in that submarket that does new construction. And then the ones that are not there are at the next stage. They're doing the civil. And then you can see the new homes going on. And they are not stopping. They are absolutely not stopping. They are hammering through. Now, I have signed up for a couple of new home builders. I'm not going to say where in Texas, but a very interesting little market in Texas, one I've always loved. And if I tell you which one it is, you're going to agree with me on this, but I don't want to say it publicly because it's a super small market. But I signed up for a couple of new home builders out there, and I'm talking to their salespeople, and they are cutting deals. So it's really interesting. Like some of these submarkets cutting deals, others they're like, in fact, one of them, I drove up to the gate and it said, sign up for our, what do they call it? Pre-sale list.
Oh, yeah.
So literally they're selling them before they're done. So it's a really interesting, like where the market, and then I was in Austin 2 weeks ago and East Austin was kind of a different animal, but I go down East Austin, everybody's talking about this real estate crash. And I'm like, oh, you mean like we had talked about before? Oh, it was worth $550 last year. It's not worth $650 this year. So you're gonna have to sell it for $575. And it's a teardown. Absolutely. It makes the worst houses in the Heights just look like, I mean, it's crazy how bad these things are.
I love the fact that we're in a crash, a real estate crash, because you can't get 10% above what your neighbor sold their house for last year. You can only get 2%.
Well, and again, I mean, I don't want to bag on, I think the guy's Nick something over at Reventure app. I don't want to bag on the guy, but he was walking neighborhoods and posted a video today where he said, you know, I'm walking these neighborhoods between Tampa and what's just south of Tampa. It's not Tallahassee. What is just, it's like, anyway, it's this little,
I
can't remember. Anyway, so just south of Tampa, it's like Fruitville or something, but it's between two major markets, just between Tampa and another one. So he said, you know, the median home price in this neighborhood is $1.25 million. I'm like, okay. And then he said, well, you know, just looking at historical records, they probably paid $10,000 to $20,000 a lot. And I'm like, this is Toll Brothers, by the way, which Toll Brothers makes, you know, luxury homes, right?
Yeah.
So I'm like, I know what it costs for them to build a luxury home there. Let's call it 200 a foot, 225. So 3,000 square feet, you're in for like 6 or 7 with a pool. I mean, like really nice, right? 3,000 square feet, you're in for 6 or 7 and you're listed right now at 1.25. They're going to be okay, dude. He went through the math. And then I was like, wait a minute, man. Are you not listening to your own math? If they paid $10,000 to $20,000 for the lot and they're selling at 1.25 million and the house is between 2,000 and 4,000 square feet, they're not going to lose on that deal.
They're making 300,000 to 400,000, maybe more a freaking house. I think they're doing just fine.
They're going to be okay. Or you could fire sale it and make 200,000.
Yeah, exactly.
Now they've got all those other costs and that sort of thing, but
they got overhead
oh yeah, they got all that. Yeah,
build the house and buy the land. You're into it for between probably $650 and $750, right? So
yeah, on a 1.2 sell.
Right.
So then he said, I just don't understand. These houses haven't been sold yet, and they're buying more land and building more houses. And I'm like,
They do.
well, let me kind of explain to you someone like Toll Brothers. They have dozens of analysts that are looking at data you don't even have access to. And they probably looked at this data set and said, we're at a 40%, 50% gross profit margin, or gross margin. Maybe a better way to put it is COGS. We're at like a 50% COGS. Build everything. Because here's the other thing I know. Cost of construction ain't going down.
Nope.
So they're probably building this crap as, I shouldn't say it's crap. They make nice houses, right?
They make really nice houses.
They make really, yeah. They are building them as fast as humanly possible. And I'm like, dude, especially that luxury stuff.
They can only build them so fast because they are actually quality.
Right.
So unlike the ones you see pop up, like the one you were talking about in the neighborhood where they're popping them up left and right, just boom, 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 boom. Those guys they're nice houses, but they're not at the same quality. So they can throw them up much, much, much faster too.
Yeah. So, I won't tell you the builder, but I'll tell you it was how can I put this? Their highest quality luxury product on the lake on Lake Conroe. And I walked their new builds and I'm like, our rental properties are nicer than this. Like, and they started at like 900,000 for the cheap one. And it's like 1,700 square feet, 2,000 square, something like that. And I looked at this stuff and I'm like, this is our luxury XYZ series. And I walked it and I'm like, dude, my rental house is done. Like, we do a better rehab on our rental house. Like, this is ridiculous.
Was it about the same quality as the one you walked over there off of Washington?
Oh, it wasn't that bad. I mean, these guys were professionals, but they were like, it was, how can I put it? Builder grade, even higher end builder grade, they have that, kind of like what you do where you buy like a couple pallets of tile. Yeah. So they've got
you're buying hollow doors and you're buying, but the door's all matched on those, right?
Right. Yeah. The door's all matched. There's all the paint was the same vintage,
You couldn't stand in one spot and see 4 kinds of different flooring.
Yeah. If you guys have not seen that video, go back and look at it. It's pretty funny.
That is the funniest video. I'm telling you, like Jason had told me about it, and it took about a week to go look at it. When I looked at it, I mean, it is actually hilarious. It's a funny. It's not made to be a funny. You didn't make the video to be funny. That was not the reason for doing it. The reason for doing it was you were seriously looking at buying those 3. Was it 3 or 4?
It was 4 of them, and I was completely serious. And we walked them, and I'm like, the products they use were high quality products. It was crappy material, crappy labor. And then the design was squirrely too. It was a weird.
I think what happened was just from watching the video, it had to have been. They must have bought blueprints online, where you can go and you can buy your blueprints for $300 or $200 to ship them to you. And they're not detailed enough, right? So they had to go in, use those probably to try to get permit, or remember they didn't have permits. It's probably why they didn't have permits. So they probably used those for permits. And then their builder's like, well, this doesn't tell me XYZ, right? This is like a basic plan. And so the guy building them, or guys or whoever's building them, probably went and said, oh yeah, we'll do this and do that and do this and do that, right? And that's why you got that quality out of it, because the guys building it probably just did what they were told. They probably had this crap, because I've seen those plans online. I've looked at them a few times. And really I've looked at them for doing small stuff for me, like a 2-bedroom, 1-bath, 1,200 square foot thrown up on an empty lot kind of thing, which you don't need a lot of detail work on, right? It's pretty basic build kind of thing. But man, I can imagine that's what that reminded me of someone doing is.
Oh yeah.
And then they went, like you said, they went to like what I do. I go up to Home Depot and I walk in or Lowe's and I go, oh, that tile you're clearing out right there for 75 cents a tile. I'll take all of it if you give it to me for 49 cents a tile. And they go, done, take it all, right?
Yeah.
It looks like that's what they did, is they went in there and they found some tile at discounted, and then they bought it all they had, and they used as much as they could, and they went and bought some more.
Yeah. And you could probably get away with what they did on a $500,000 townhome, but not on something close to $1 million. Like that's absolutely crazy.
It is kind of a, I know it wasn't meant to be a funny video, but if anybody that's watching hasn't seen it, you should 100% go watch it, especially like there's some of my favorite parts. I talked about them at the doors is when Jason, I don't know if it was you or Corey, steps back and goes, "Wait a minute, those two doors are different styles.
Yeah.
They're right next to each other."
Like, this doesn't make sense. Like, I don't, what did we do here, guys? Like, it was so just random,
And
and
I
then
think you said, "Wait, Corey, something's not right here." And then it took you a second. You go, "Oh wait, those two doors don't match." And then the other favorite part was the balcony
Oh yeah.
where
Yeah.
you walked out and Corey goes, "Dude, there's no glass."
Yeah. There's no, the kids are just going to fall out of the, this is nuts. So it's a weird, and there's a bunch of stuff like that in Houston and
Well, it's just people that are not developers going, "I'm going to go build da 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 da. I'm going to build a townhouse. I'm going to build a house. I'm going to build zero experience."
yeah, zero experience. You know, I've got a guy, another buddy of mine's a close friend, and I keep flirting with the idea of building my own house. But the first thing I do is call him, even though we've literally done 1,000 rehabs at this point. But that's not new home construction. That's a completely different animal. And like you said, a good architect will run you somewhere between $2 and $5 a square foot to draw up some plans.
For sure.
Now, I've sent them plans before and go, "Hey, I'm kind of looking for this." And of course, they look at it and go, "All right, I got a kind of idea of what you want." And then they redo the whole thing and it looks 100 times better. But plans are, it's just the start of the whole deal. It's kind of like structural engineering when you're opening up a wall and opening up a living room, opening up the kitchen. Man, a little bit of planning goes a long way, and it's so cheap early on. I just looked at it
later.
Yeah, Corey and I are walking this, and I'm like, dude, we're gonna have to replace 3,000 square feet of really high-end tile and wood. We're probably at $5 to $8 a foot on the low end, just to make it look right, and that's, I mean, you're
15, 20 grand minimum
at least, yeah, and that's
just the install.
Yeah,
and that $2 or $3 in there for demo.
Yeah, exactly. So you're gonna crush 30 G's just fixing the flooring so it doesn't look so squirrely. So,
and that was the cheap part of everything in that freaking house you found.
Oh yeah. I don't.
My other favorite part was the railing on the kitchen.
That was wild, wasn't it? The island that backs up to the stairs. The stairs that go down, going down. Yeah. That was. I looked at that and I'm like, I know there's some code that says you can't do this. Like there is some kind of code, some kind of architect, IBC, International Building Code. There is something that says you can't do this, because I'm like, this is way too close. Well, even if there's a pony wall there, it's too close.
The thing is, just if someone's walking that to buy it and they just step back and fell down that thing, that would be a lawsuit.
Yeah.
Just touring it.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I couldn't imagine owning that house. I wouldn't want to own that and have people over and watch someone. I mean, but you're right. You couldn't even put you have to put a legit pretty high rail up right there or something.
I'd literally just wall that up and pull the island out, or maybe make it a little two-person, because it's deep, but it's not very wide. So if you want an island, then maybe you do the little two-person, or just make it a galley kitchen, right? Like a U galley kitchen. But I wouldn't run a wall right up that thing, because I could see your kids not paying attention. It's that they see it as the kitchen. It's not the stairwell. And then they just go tumbling down that stupid thing. So
I'm not even worried about the kids. I'm worried about me having, 5
Oh yeah, that's right. Be like, hey, what are we having for dinner? Woo! Yeah, literally just fall back, right? So
that place is wild. Yeah.
So
but if you want to learn why, if you have zero experience, you shouldn't go into new construction, 100% watch that video. And I don't think, I truly believe, and I'm sure you do, the guys that built it did not purposely go in there and say, we're going to cut corners and we're going to do this, because they use high-end materials.
They use really expensive, those large format tiles.
Oh yeah.
I think some were like 36 by 30. I mean, in one house, they were gigantic. I thought they were 36-inch tiles. They were so freaking big. So that stuff is really expensive.
So they weren't going cheap. They just didn't know what they were doing.
No.
And that's easy to do. And then all of a sudden you're so far down the rabbit hole, you got to keep going. And then we start realizing, oops, we messed up. They obviously ran out of money.
Yeah.
Right.
Yep.
So they got to the end and they're like, well, we can't even sell these. And also they didn't have a permit, so you couldn't sell them.
Well,
And
they went back to the lender. So
yeah,
they were foreclosed. They were REOs.
yeah, because they ran out of money after they made really nice houses, but they couldn't get a permit on, so they couldn't sell them.
Yeah. So now it's the lender. It's like, well, I really need this number because this is what I'm into it for. And I'm like, I don't know what to tell you, man. Like, I don't
Are
know
they
what
still on the market?
I don't know if they've ever been on the market. I think well, actually, I'll take that back. They have been on the market. The
They're not.
lots,
They were not on the market when you looked at them. It was a lender
no.
calling you,
Yeah,
saying, "Are you interested?"
yeah. Are you interested? And I'm like, dude, you have got to take a huge haircut on these things. Or the other thing we'll pitch to them is, hey, we'll finish them for you.
Yeah.
And there's a fee for that. I got a couple of guys. We did our 2-day real estate event a couple of days ago, and got a couple of guys interested in joining the group. And one of the things they asked me said, "Hey, can you guys do build to rent?" I'm like, "Yeah, I got a guy that's doing it right now. It's going to be somewhere between 110 and 125 dollars a foot." And I said, if you've got the capital, and I said I have a really good construction lender. You're going to need a little experience, but I think if we float our resumes over there, it shouldn't be a problem. But they just give you a lower LTV. But I said we could build these things all day for 110, 125 a foot, easy, easy.
Yep.
So that was the reason I went and looked at that project. Corey's like, hey, they still need to build some of these. I was like, what's the numbers? I went out there and looked at it, and I'm like, man, if you can build and you're at 1%, like the 1% rule,
Yeah.
on hard costs.
Yeah.
Like, I think it works all day long. And he's been screwing around with this panel pre-made panel construction.
Oh yeah, I've seen that. Yeah.
So he's like, dude, what took us, a couple weeks, we're now doing in like 3 days with like 3 dudes. So and
it's
this
a puzzle, right? It's basically like a puzzle.
it's just a puzzle. You're coming in 18-wheeler, little crane on it, and they're just moving the framing over, right? That's all they're doing is just building it from there.
You put it up and basically bolt it together, right?
Yeah. And he said it's not any cheaper like the hard costs, but it's way faster. So you save on financing costs. And I said,
it's going to be a big portion of your costs.
oh, yeah, it's going to be a big port. But we're looking at this neighborhood and we got to do maybe a dozen houses. I'm like, dude, we could order all these trucks all at once and literally have an 18-wheeler behind an 18-wheeler and just like banging these things out with like a crew, like 3 crews working on a house at a time and just boop, 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 just pound through them. And then, of course, as you know, here in Houston, this time of year, it's raining every day, right? It rains in the afternoon every single day.
Right now,
so, yeah, it's raining right now. So every time you can close that building envelope up as fast as possible, then you get your trades in there, really get cooking. Because the weather,
you get 2 or 3 of them going at a time.
Oh yeah,
makes it so much faster.
Yeah. Well, and just being exposed to the elements, I mean, it screws those framing crews so fast, and the roofers, because once the lightning starts, they're like, I'm not getting on top of this thing. And you're like, fair enough, right?
I wouldn't either. Hell no.
Yeah. So
yeah, go hold a metal hammer up on top of a roof while you're
while you're getting that looks like fun. Yeah. So
I'll tell you what, just not kind of somewhere related to that. We had our annual Lean Associates golf outing. And we were out west over my club playing. There was, I don't know, 25 of us. And, like you were saying, every day in Houston, Texas, there's thunderstorms, right?
Mm-hmm.
Little thunderstorm doesn't actually blow through. It blows around the course.
Oh,
but
that's awesome.
It's within 10 miles. So we're getting lightning strikes, right?
Yeah.
So they say, you can't tee off, can't start. So we end up with an hour delay. But the interesting thing was, they kind of went from east. It went east, south, and west. I mean, like literally made a huge
like a boomerang. Huh.
And when they got to the west side, there is some kind of structure going up that looks like 2 or 3 stories tall. It's steel structure. And there's guys up there working. And I swear to God, there was lightning strikes all over the place around them. And those guys are up there freaking working. I was like, those guys are nuts.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, steel structure, not even like wood structure, steel structure.
Yeah.
3 stories tall. And they're up there on that thing working. I'm like, I
don't think so. I don't think so, guys. It ain't worth it. I don't want my job site on the news.
No.
Now, when it's done and it's beautiful, that's what I want. But I don't want it because some dudes get zapped off the,
Or
off
five
the
of them.
trellis.
If
Yeah,
it hits that thing one time, everybody on that thing is gone.
yeah.
They'll all be hanging with their safety cords.
Yeah, that's wild. Absolutely wild. So finally got a date on the 500 unit. I'm going to look at it Tuesday. So we're going to go walk it. Yep. And the rumor on the street is between like 60 and 70K a door. So got to go walk it, see what it looks like.
If you put 25, 30 into them, you're still sub 100.
Yeah. And I mean, 500 units. I mean, what's $10 in NOI get you across 500 plus units, right? I mean, it's pretty when you start playing with those numbers, it gets sexy real quick.
Yeah.
So we'll see.
You move the needle significantly, little bursts at a time.
Yeah. Yeah. Carries obviously a lot more risk, but it could be a really interesting deal. So anyways, I got the invite for that. I'll be out there on Tuesday. But interesting. We'll see. We'll kind of see what the whole thing looks like. But, and then I keep looking for deals. Like I said, I've signed up for some new construction stuff, just where areas where I can see new construction's a little weak. But, man, I'm not seeing. Oh, by the way, I'm going to look at a lake house tomorrow, sometime in the afternoon. I don't know when, but on Lake Conroe, never renovated, inherited house. This guy is much older, and I think it was his parents' house. So
that's what I bought. It's exactly what I bought. The one I'm remodeling right now on Livingston.
Yeah. So they called us and he said, I don't even know. I don't get the impression, most of the houses that Tom and I bought over the years, they weren't people that needed money. They're just like, hey, I got to sell this thing. And, I'm older. I'm not rehabbing it.
I don't want to fix it. I don't want to spend the time.
And I'm not on Party Cove like you young guys in your 50s. Right. So it's like, okay, well, so we're going to go take a look at it, but that should be tomorrow. I'm pretty excited. I haven't seen any great. I keep hearing about this real estate crash. I keep hearing about the numbers, and then I'm going all around Conroe. I'm going to all the places that have been hot for so long. Hell, I was down in the Heights today, just driving by, looking at some stuff, and I'm like, man, I don't see it. And there was this reporter, I don't know, CNN or somewhere, that just popped up in my YouTube clips, and she was talking about it. She goes, this is an absolute crazy market. This is the worst real estate market in decades, and prices keep going up and interest rates are just flat still. And she's like, it's going to be another terrible year for people in real estate. I mean, how many folks, that are agents and brokers and all that are no longer in the business, but they're not, the real estate prices keep going up.
Part of that is also the amount of agents we had, like in Houston, Texas, doubled in a 3-year period, right?
Yeah.
Right. Because every mom sitting at home that hasn't had a job because she's a stay-at-home mom doing a very, by the way, difficult job. I would never want to be a stay-at-home mom.
Yeah.
That's probably one of the most difficult jobs in the world. But their kids are grown, or they're like trying to figure out how they can make extra money. And their friend who's in real estate said, oh yeah, I just closed a house for $400,000, and last week I closed one for $300,000, and before that I closed one for $250,000. And yeah, I'm gonna make $25,000 in commissions this month, and I only work 10 hours a week. Right? They go, well, hell, I can do that, right?
Yeah.
So they all went out and got their license. I mean, Champion School of Real Estate probably made more money from 2019 to 2021, 22 than they've made for the prior 10, 15 years.
Oh, yeah.
Because everybody was signed up to get a real estate license. So the fact that people are dropping out doesn't surprise me, because you had too many part-time real estate people that decided, I'm going to go do part-time real estate, right? I'm going to do whatever I do normally and do real estate on the side and make an extra $7,500 a year because everybody's doing it.
Yep.
Now we're back to a normalized sales market, and they have to actually go work to do deals, and they don't want to go work to do a deal. They just want to be handed deals and go get them done.
Yeah. Yeah. It is interesting. So looking at real, of course, like you, I get freaking deals all day long. Right. And I look at them and most of them really aren't deals, or they're in areas where I'm like, yeah, that's a good price, but I don't want to own there. I'm just not real interested.
Yeah.
but there's still, there's still some stuff out there. I was chatting with a guy who's been in this market for over 20 years yesterday. And he said, Jason, you make money down market, up market, doesn't matter. There's still deals out there if you know what you're doing. I'm like, yeah, of course. Right. But man, I feel bad for the guys getting into this right now and they have no idea what they're doing. I'm like, man, there are a lot of really desperate folks out there right now. And I'm seeing it with the phone calls and the text messages I'm getting. Like, it's getting real interesting for some of these real estate investors.
Well, like you said, it's and they're also, if they're signed up to get all these messages, these emails and text messages from these wholesalers, the deals are sitting out. Like I've picked out a few of them where I'm like, man, I know that area, and that ARV just doesn't seem right. I can run the ARV because I have a membership for HR on the MLS. And I'm like, man, you're off by like 10-15% or more. Right. But if you don't know that, the deal looks great, right?
Yeah.
It's like, hey, the ARV is 400,000, pick this up for 250, right? And or pick it up for 200. It's worth 400. Put 50,000 into it, you're going to make great money, right? And then if you run the comps, you go, wait a minute, it's not worth 400 at the end of the day. It's worth 325.
Yep.
And I've run the numbers. It's still a good deal, but it's not the great deal you're seeing there, right? You're not going to flip it and go make a bunch of money. You're going to flip it and with your holding costs, make 10, 15, 20 grand, right?
Yeah. I have,
if you can flip it.
If you can flip it. Well, we had a long conversation about flips the other day, and he asked me, he was like, hey man, would you consider getting back into the flipping business? And I'm like, I don't know. I said, May 2026, when we got a new Fed chair? Yeah, maybe.
Hey, it's time to start buying to do flips.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah, maybe Q4, Q1.
Q1's a great time. Into Q1, middle of Q1, start buying flips because that's time to buy.
And I said, but I'm only buying stuff that's destroyed. Like, I want the worst of the worst houses, right? Because there's no surprises. I said, so Q4, Q1, maybe. But I said,
not Q3 of this year.
No, not right now. Like, I don't. Now, of course, guys are gonna watch this video and be like, no, man, you can flip it into it. And I'm like, dude, the report just came out today. Lowest margins in flipping in a long time. In fact, it came out from I think Bigger Pockets. It's a national. They do there's a national outfit. I don't think it's NAR. I can't remember who it is, but they track same house sales in a 12-month period because that's how you track the flippers.
Right.
And they do it by title searches. They don't do it by MLS. So then they calculate gross between buy and sell because it's the easiest way to do it. You don't know what the rehab is, but it'll tell you what their gross margin is. And it's like never been thinner. So, and like what he and I were talking about, like, you don't make any money flipping $250,000 houses. Like, you got to flip $500,000, $600,000, $700,000 houses. And those are the markets that are real sensitive right now. And, I'm just not interested.
Now, I mean, you can flip the 250s all day long. The problem is you can't make any. I mean, you're going to make 5,000-10,000 off every one of them. You can't make a living doing that.
No, you're not. But 20% margin, you're at 50 grand, maybe. Probably with a price adjustment, you're around 30. I mean, one little screw up on the rehab, and all of a sudden you're at break even. Like, it gets. I used to teach Tom and I used to teach a whole seminar on flipping houses, and I'm like, guys, it's 20% net profit margin. If you know what you're doing, you really got to be flipping $500,000 houses and above. Like, flipping that little 250 house just ain't worth it.
$500,000 house, you're talking $100,000.
Yeah.
If you miss it by 30, 40 grand, all right. I still
yeah. If you got to do sub slab plumbing and it costs you $7,500, no big deal, right? Happens. You eat that on a $25,000 or $250,000 house. You got a $7,500 mistake. You miss your margin by 5% ish. You're not even at break even. So, and even like the new construction stuff, like I mean, the rule that I always heard is double the cost of construction. So if you're building at 110, you got to sell at 220. Like, it's that simple. That allows for land costs. Land costs can't exceed 20% of the value. So it's like, it's a real simple formula. And I've seen investors, some of the biggest ones here in town, they get in that new construction, they get eaten alive.
People think it's easy because they've seen these guys do it. And It's not easy. It is
Mm.
not. It is much easier to flip a house to a rental. Rehab is so much easier than building a house.
Yeah.
And just because you can rehab does not mean you can do new construction.
Mm-mm.
There's so many guys, I've flipped 15, 20 houses, 40 houses, 50 houses, whatever it is. I'm going to go build a house. Dude, that's a total different animal. That's like saying I've repaired my car, I'm going to go build a car.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right? Like,
I,
yeah, you
I
don't
know
do
a
that.
I know a guy right now that is he's buying lots and building properties and then selling them to investors. So his exit are investors.
Huh.
And you can look at them. They're listed, a bunch of little duplexes and stuff around town. And I'm like, and he's like, hey, do you want to invest? And I looked at it and I'm like, man, if that market dries up and the investors are not a big buyer's pool, everyone thinks there's all these investors buying property. There's not. So those
Well, the
guys,
meetup was a ton of investors.
oh, of course, yeah. There's a ton of them don't have any money, right? And they don't have whatever, or the ones that some of them do have lots of money, they just don't know what to do. So
Yep.
because these are not,
They're waiting for the crash. They're all waiting for the crash.
everyone's waiting for the crash, right? And I just sit there and I'm like, man, you got to be real careful. Oh, by the way, I was also going to tell you. So I was on the west side of town, northwest side of town,
Okay.
off of 290, kind of checking in on some things. And I was around all those different office buildings, and it was like 1:30 in the afternoon. And boy, did those parking garages and parking lots look real empty.
Yep.
And I keep going back to kind of what you and I have talked about. And I'm like, man, I know there's some opportunity here. When does this stuff get cheap?
No, it is cheap. I can tell you, there's a guy that you know that's been a big buyer down in Texas City, houses, other other items that most people wouldn't buy.
Yeah.
That is under contract, from what I've heard in the market, to buy an office building. This is actually a really good deal.
Yeah.
$32 a foot
Damn.
off of Westheimer, inside the Beltway.
Wow.
32 a foot.
Jeez. How much rehabs it need?
It needs some rehab. You have to put probably 40 or 50 a foot into it. And so that, I had this conversation with my senior brokers, managing partner and two principals yesterday. Okay, so say you can buy a building at 35.
Mm-hmm.
Say you keep it down to $40 a foot for TI, commissions, rehab. You're 75 a foot. Can you sell it for 90 a foot in 2 years?
Mm-hmm.
Right? Because nothing's sold for 90 a foot lately, right? I mean,
No.
even there's nothing, right? Like, even, hey, I've leased it to 85%. No one sold it. There's not been a building trade for that number in Houston probably in 18, 24 months.
Yeah.
So you can buy it cheap, but how long? The thing is, what's a runway to flip it out of it once you get it leased up? But hey, fortunately, I got to cut it short.
All right. No, well, I want to go back to this because I do want to go back to the demographics and return to work and all that stuff, because I think this might be a little bit longer for office. But anyway, yeah, send me a link to that Economist. I'll watch it.
Yeah, maybe we do one early next week, and maybe we can do 2 next week.
No, that'd be great. I'm pretty flexible next week.
Me too.
This week was kind of crazy, but next week's definitely better.
Okay, let's do that. Let's figure out that, and that way we can, because this one we got kind of cut short. So
no, that's fine. We'll talk about office and commercial stuff next week.
That worked.
Cool. All right.
All right.